Hello, welcome back. Steve's Retirement Corner. Retirement lessons from layoffs and minimum wage. Man, just about all my early personal financial education come from them two items right there. Because I was laid off a lot. 4 times, 15 years. I went on strike 1 time. So, I mean, it averages out. I was unemployed about once every 3 years. But listen, I gotta apologize to everybody. I screwed that last video up, something fierce. I didn't even know it until I started seeing something in the comments about it, and I had to go back and watch the video. And sure enough, yeah, I screwed up big time. It wasn't intentional, and I apologize for anybody that might have been confused or misinformed or misunderstood. I screw up from time to time. It's a fact. But what I did is I said it. I try to keep 2 to 3 months expenses cash on hand. That's wrong. It should have been 2 to 3 months expenses in the bank, 200 to 300 on hand. Yeah, man, I'm just trying to give you an honest, straightforward idea of what I do in my retirement, so you'll have an idea of how it actually is. And it ticks me off when I screw up like that, especially for something as simple as that. My brain and my mouth just weren't on the same track. My brain was thinking one thing, my mouth didn't get the message. How's that? But that's why I enjoy the comments so much. I get so much from them because I learn so much from you guys. And when I screw up, I can figure it out because you'll let me know. I appreciate it. I really do. Because I'd hate to give you the wrong impression of anything. I apologize. But them 2 sets of numbers come directly because I was laid off. And whatever minimum wage happened to be at the time. Come straight from that. See, the 2 to 3 months was because when I was being laid off, it would usually lasted about 3 months. One time I was laid off for 4, but generally it lasted about 3 months. That's how I come up with that daggone 2 to 3 months expenses I needed to have where I could get a hold of. It would help us ride out short-term unemployment. It wasn't because anybody recommended it or told me to do it or whatever. It's because it fit my situation. And that $200 to $300 cash is what come directly from daggone unemployment, whatever the minimum wage was at the time. I was getting laid off. At the time I was getting them layoffs, I was averaging probably about $1,500 a month making. It comes down to about 18 grand a year. In the first 6-7 years, I was making anywhere between 13 and about 21, 22 maybe, depending on overtime or how much time I was actually working instead of laid off. So 13, $2,100 or 21,000. I figure 18's about average. But you take that 1,500, you take off 20% for taxes, you come down to $1,200. That's what I needed to replace when I was laid off. You take the first couple hundred off, the easy hanging, low hanging fruit, cable, telephone, trash service, junk like that you can get by without. If I was fortunate enough to have the whole 300 saved up at the house, those were goals of mine. I didn't always meet them, but I knew that if I had hit them numbers, that hey, buddy, I'd be good. You take that 300 off, take that $1,000 down to $700. I picked a minimum wage jobs because they tend to be a little bit more plentiful and easier to get than a living wage job. So you take that $3 minimum wage times 40 hours gives you $120. Take out 20% for taxes, you get $96. Round it to 100 for easy figuring. That's $400 a month. Take that off your $700, your $300. You got a shortage of $300. When I started out with 12. Hey man, if the baby was to get her a minimum wage job, we're golden. I'd take a couple of knockaround jobs, side hustles. We're golden. We could make it for that first month. I didn't have to hustle and worry and panic because didn't have no money. I didn't have no money coming in. It bought me time. That little $200, $300 bought me time. It prevented me from making a bad decision out of panic. It taught me that we could get by on a little bit less if we had to. It taught me that the world don't give a rat's butt whether you're employed or not. You get laid off, the bills still come. That man standing on the front porch there with a shut-off notice, he don't care that you got laid off. He's there to shut off whatever it is there, and he don't take a daggone check. It pays to have a little bit on hand. And I carried him right on through. I wasn't aware at the time that by me trying to prevent a disaster, I was doing exactly what I needed to do to prepare for retirement. That's why I say all the time that my retirement was purely accidental and unplanned. But if you look at it, if you follow it through till a day, now this is the scary part. I figured our retirement expenses was going to be $2,700. They were actually $2,900 first 6 months this year. I rounded that 27 to 3,000, and they added 10% for my mathematical errors, so it come up to $3,300. Minimum wage in Virginia, $12 an hour. Just moved there January 1st of this year. It depends on what state you're in. Some go straight by the $7.25 federal, and some make their own. Like West Virginia's, I think, is like 10. South Carolina goes off federal, like $7.25. Ohio's like 10.10, I believe. But in Virginia, it's 12. You times that times 40, you get $480. If the wife gets her a minimum wage job, would come up with $960 a week. For easy math, you round it to 1,000. That gives you $4,000 in a month that we make. Take 20% off of taxes. What do you come up with? $3,200. If I take 10% off of that for my daggone mathematical errors, what do I come up with? $2,900. Exactly what we spent the first 6 months of this year. If you didn't know anybody, you'd think I knew what the heck I was doing. But that's the way I planned it. I wanted to be able to survive off 2 minimum wage jobs. In case something happened to the job I was in. If you think about it, it's kind of funny because you could honestly say that my retirement is based off of minimum wage jobs. I wouldn't be making as much as when I was working, but then 2 jobs would keep our heads above water. If I was still working, I wouldn't have to be concerned about getting laid off. But that, that's just some of the lessons I learned from being laid off and from minimum wage. And they've helped me over the years, and I continue to do a lot of them. It's like, I understand now. Hey man, nobody gives a rat's butt whether I'm employed or not. That bill's still coming to the house. Sometimes, $100, $200 can make the world of difference when you ain't got a job. It don't take a lot sometimes to make a big daggone difference. I don't know. But I just wanted to make sure I apologize to everybody for screwing up like I did. I hate I told you wrong. I was thinking right, but like I said, the electrical signals weren't sending to the right spot. I guess my mouth, I was just flattening my gums. How's that? But I apologize for that, and I hope it didn't bother anybody too much. Didn't give you any kind of misinformation or misunderstanding. So, listen, y'all take care of yourselves. You make it a good week. Make it a real good weekend. How's that? A real good weekend. And we'll talk to y'all later.